suppose that today's video is going to be my June wrap up. I read a total of 10 books this month. The first book I'm going to talk to you about is Abyssin by Garth Nix. I first read this series quite a while ago actually. I probably read it when I was about 14, 15, something like that. And I have been rereading it in the past few months just because I felt like it really. I just picked up Sabriel, which is the first one, and just decided to read it. This isn't my favourite book in the series. Sabriel is probably my favourite book. This book is primarily about a girl called L'Oreal. She's part of a order of women who are kind of like seers, or she feels like she's an outcast until she realizes that she has another destiny, and it's about her discovering her new destiny. She finds family she never knew she had, and it's all about L'Oreal's journey into defeating this new big bad and finding out who she's meant to be. I definitely recommend it for people who are just getting into fantasy, so maybe younger readers. The next two books I'm going to talk about is Siege and Storm and Ruin and Rising by Leigh Bardugo. They are part of the Grisha Trilogy. I read the first book probably a month or two ago now. I did enjoy it, but I just never picked up the next two, so I decided to complete the trilogy this month. There were some things I had issues with. For one, I wanted the bad guy to win. Like, I didn't like the way the story went. I didn't like who she ended up with in the end as a love interest. I much preferred someone else. I would have rather it gone down that route. Basically, this series is about a girl who finds out she's got magical powers. She gets taken into the Order of the Grisha. There's corruption. It is a good story and I did enjoy it. I think I give it a 3.5 stars, 3 stars, something like that on Goodreads. I can't quite remember now. The next book that I read is A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J Maas. I've heard a lot about this series, a lot about the Sarah J Maas books in general, so I knew I had to pick this up and get it read. It's basically about a world where the Fae and the humans are split. So the Fae all live above a wall that has been built, and the humans all live below this wall. This story follows a girl called Feyre who ends up killing one of the Fae. Then one of the friends of the person she killed comes and takes her away into the land of the Fae so she can repay her debt. It's about Feyre being inducted into the land of the Fae, realising they're not as bloodthirsty as humans originally thought, and I just really enjoyed it as a story. But the best is yet to come, as I also read Court of Mist and Fury. Oh my days. This is probably my joint favourite book that I have read this year. My other one being Lady Midnight by Cassandra Clare. And it is just so good. Feyre is just, she's really come into her own. I like the way at the beginning it does address the issue of post-traumatic stress, and it doesn't just dawdle over the issue. Something pretty traumatic happens to Feyre at the end of the first book, and she doesn't just get over it, she struggles, and this beginning of this book shows her struggle and her trying to deal with it, and I really appreciate that. And it's not just glazed over, it's shown to be a real issue. I love all the characters in this book. I love the new characters that we're introduced to. We properly get to meet Rysand, who's the ruler of the Night Court. Now, everyone on BookTube bangs on about this being like really sexy and having graphic sex scenes and stuff like that, but to be honest, I don't think it really did. But it's all good. I love a bit of smuttiness in my books. Definitely recommend this series. This is my favourite Sarah J Maas series. I think her writing just gets better with every single book. It's so good and I love it. I definitely prefer this to the Throne of Glass series completely and utterly. I love the story more, I'm more invested with the characters, and I just cannot recommend this enough. I gave this 5 stars. It's so good. Speaking of Sarah J Maas, I also read this month Crown of Midnight, of Fire and Queen of Shadows. This series follows a girl called Selena Sardothian who is an assassin. The series begins with her being locked into a kind of prison camp, or some sort of like labour slave camp, and she gets taken away by the prince to compete in a competition to be the king's champion. And this series kind of follows Selena's journey into becoming the king's champion, her discovering herself and trying to overcome the corruption in the kingdom. You know, in the last few books, I think it gets really interesting. We start to meet the mythical kind of creatures within the world, so we meet the Fae, and I really like where the story is going at the moment. I definitely enjoyed the later books a lot more when that more fantasy element came into it. But it is a really good series and I can't wait for the next one to be released. I think it's in October, September. I think it's in autumn sometime, so I'm definitely looking forward to that being released. The next book that I read this month is Me Before You by Jojo Moyes. I just picked this up on a whim when I was in Tesco because it was like £3 and I saw a lot of people tweeting about the film. And this story is just so amazing. I don't usually read stories like this. I usually stick with fantasy. I just loved the way it was written. The writing was so eloquent, and the character, I just really related to the character. It's basically about a girl called Lou who lives and works in this little town. It's like a little village town in the country somewhere in England, and she's happy enough living her life working in a little cafe until the cafe gets closed down, so she has to find a new job. She ends up becoming a carer for a quadriplegic man, and it's basically about their relationship over the months that she cares for him. At first it's really funny because they're really snappy with each other. They don't really like each other much at the beginning, and it shows them basically becoming best friends. And the ending is just sob worthy. Like, if you've seen the film, you'll know. It's not often that I read books like this, but I'm glad that I did, because it kind of gave me a bit of a break from fantasy. It broke it up a little bit, and it stopped me from getting into a reading slump. The last book that I read this month is Rebel of the Sands by Alwyn Hamilton. I've got so many things to say about this book because I really enjoyed it. To me, I've not read anything like it. It's set in Middle Eastern kind of country, but it's also got Western elements. It's about a girl called Armani who is a sharpshooter, and she's stuck in this little town where women mean nothing. The only thing for her to do as a woman in life is to be married off to a man, to be that man's property, and she ain't having any of this. So the first chance she gets out of town, actually leaving with a boy who is on the run, and it's this whole story about her wanting to make more of herself, I guess the word is, or I guess the term is. She wants to become more. She doesn't just want to be a woman in this man's world. She doesn't want to just be married off to someone. She wants to make something of herself. She wants to be free, basically. I really enjoyed this story. There is some bits that need developing. This is the author's debut novel, but I really enjoyed the story, and I'm really looking forward to the next one. I think it's got such great potential. I'm just really looking forward to seeing what she can do. That was everything for my June wrap up. I kind of half feel like I don't even explain these books properly. I should probably like practice my reviewing techniques. It's because I try not to give spoilers, and I'm probably really terrible at explaining things, but I'll get better at it with time. I've only been making book videos for only probably made 3 book videos, so it will come with time, so bear with me. Do leave me a comment down below with what books you read this month, and I shall see you all in the next video. Bye!